It's March 29th, 2015, and we want to know, could this be the week the C-list villains of the DCU finally get their due?
While many of these final issues had a lot of heart, did they have as much groin kicking as Star-Spangled War Stories featuring G.I. Groin Kicker?
All this and more is coming up next. It's Season 2, Up 25 of DCR, starting now.
We rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
I flew too close to the sun, Chief. I challenged the gods and they have stricken me down. Not but last week I made the comment of how my body was a scorched earth and no germs could live within it, and the germs heard me. I should not have broadcast that.
They took that as a challenge.
They did, and they struck hard in the form of a baby. Honestly, if I ever develop some sort of lethal pathogen, I'm going to develop babies to carry it, because you can't help but pick them up and just absorb their germs into you. But hello, everyone. It is I, Sean Lamont, comic book reader extraordinaire and germ carrier extraordinaire as well. And I am joined this week by my co-host in crime, my Punmeister General. I'm demoting you. We have a new Punmeister General.
I know.
I'm demoting you to Punmeister Colonel.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to earn it back.
Punmeister Archduke?
Sure, I'll give you that much. Mr. Brian Glein, hello, sir.
Hey, Sean, how's it going?
I am excellent.
Oh, someone came up with Earth 2 Lana Lang being the best darn insectrical engineer ever.
But we're also joined by sunshine, rainbows, lollipops, and everything fun, happy, and lovely. Miss Kelly, how are you?
I also have the germs.
Yay, germs!
Yay, germs!
It's a germ party. We're now GCR, Germ Citizens Radio. But we are DCR Podcast, and we're going to talk about the comic books, but not just all of the comic books, because we don't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So, Kelly, why don't you tell the lovely people what they may have in store?
We are covering all the titles that came out for the new 52 line on Wednesday. We're going to do plot.
You got this, Kel. You got this.
Character stuff.
No!
Character developments. Yeah, I can't think of all the other stuff. There's other stuff that's going on.
Let's go plot beats, storylines, character development, and that they should be forewarned that they're maybe what ahead.
Spoilers.
There you go. See, you got it. And now you have one more week of using it, and then you have to forget it and think up something new.
Oh, I've already forgotten it.
I know, you've never remembered it.
It's called medicine. It's like Robitussin.
Yeah. The tussin will get you. But as you guys know, we will be covering all of this week's books, so if you do not want them spoiled, do not listen ahead. As usual, we're still playing catch up. I think we got one more Wednesday app to go after this one just to tie up some loose ends, and from there. So we're going to hold off on the listener questions for right now. We'll get back into them probably next week. Brian?
Yeah.
What do you think we should do this week to head into comics?
Are we gonna? Oh God, what are we gonna do? We've already done like Mosey. I'm pretty sure we've done Mosey.
Yeah.
We've done Amble.
Yeah.
We've done Trot.
Pounced, we've trotted. We've jogged. We've run.
What if we delicately somersault?
Okay, I could do that. Can we tiptoe?
We could tiptoe.
Let's tiptoe
It's
into this
spring.
week's books. Doot, 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 doot. Brian, you're leading the charge this week.
I'm leading the charge with Secret Origins 11. Why am I starting with Secret Origins 11?
Because it's the beginning, and
Okay.
that's the best place to start.
Sure, why not?
I saw The Sound of Music. I know how this works.
All right. So, we've got 3 origin stories of characters that we know the origins for already. Well, maybe not in all cases. But we start off with Guy Gardner, done by current Red Lanterns writer, Landry Walker, and Scott Hepburn, who I wish would just get a regular series already.
Yeah.
Unless that's not a possibility for him. I don't know if it's a speed thing, but I
Maybe
really like
it
his
might
stuff.
just be a workload thing. I think he's doing some work elsewhere as well.
Yeah. All right. So Guy Gardner grew up the second son in an abusive family, and that left him always angry.
That was
always
dark.
That was very dark
origin.
Yes.
where his mother died, and then his older brother took it out on him because he was trying to bottle up all of his emotions, and Guy was trying to help out and just be like, hey, bro, is there something you need to talk about to feel better? And he's like, yeah, I need to talk about punching your faces.
Yeah. So when he got older, he became a cop, but lost that after he killed his father to save more people from his abusiveness?
No, he lost it when he was trying to stop a terrorist from getting on a plane.
Okay.
And shot the terrorist as he detonated, and it killed people in the airport.
Okay.
And then when he was under review for the whole thing, that was when he ended up getting his ring.
All right. They were very vague about stuff, and his dad was sitting there in a chair drinking before he saw the gunshot.
Yeah, if you go to the Zero issue, you can actually see all that stuff.
Gotcha. So he lost his badge, but when trying to save his brother, he got a new one by becoming a Green Lantern.
Correct.
He displayed a great act of courage, saved his brother, and he got the Green Lantern ring. Eventually, after being left behind by the Corps, he gave into his rage and became a Red Lantern.
Well, I wouldn't say left behind by the Corps. I think he was just kind of tossed out to the wolves.
Well, he was tossed out to the wolves, and they forgot about him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they got very busy. Hal died and all.
I very specifically remember, Hal Jordan saying, "Oh my God, I forgot. Oh no, I've made a terrible mistake."
You think Guy's gonna forget about this one? Yes. Again, Hal Jordan, greatest leader of the Green Lanterns of all time.
Mm-hmm. Next is Constantine, which is a nice little story where a bunch of dumb kids summon a truth-teller demon to tell them the origin of Constantine. And the truth-teller demon that has to tell the truth tells 3 wildly conflicting stories. I don't know, is it like all the versions of...
I don't know if it's all the versions.
So
I think it was
that's not
just...
the truth, is it?
Well, one of them was...
One of them was theoretically.
Yes.
Like even the kids say, Constantine must have done this to protect his secret. Everyone wants to know about Constantine, so he's hiding it. The demon threatens the souls of the kids, but Constantine himself shows up and points out that it's not a truth-teller demon, it's a legend killer demon.
Oh, whoops.
Trying to water down and convolute his backstory.
Huh. I wonder where they get employment at.
I know. And he sends it on his way. No one will ever know the true origin of Constantine, and does it really matter, he says as he smiles and winks and lights up a cigarette.
And then dances off into the night.
Mm-hmm, yep.
As Constantines do.
Yes.
He does that in my books, too. He keeps doing that. He keeps showing up, drinking some booze, smoking a cigarette, and then he goes tap dancing off into the night.
Tappity. Last story is a Black Canary origin story, detailing the Team 7 part of her back history.
Yeah.
Where she, gets married with her husband dying, and the weird thing where her husband was, super integral to whether her powers worked or not. And,
well, it wasn't really whether they worked. He could amp them or dampen them.
Yeah.
That was her husband's power set.
Yeah.
He could do that with all metahumans.
Okay,
he can
gotcha.
amp them up or dampen
But
them.
it wasn't just strictly them. All
Nope.
right. But yeah, it's all that weird Team 7 stuff that's wild, that kind of wildly flies in the face of what Black Canary is now, thanks to Batgirl and what she's going to be.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I honestly wouldn't mind if Convergence just sort of went... It's almost like, wait a minute, we're doing some really weird stuff with Black Canary, but we paid for this backup story already. We had it on file. Should we just run it in Secret Origins? Sure, why not?
It still has a place, really, because she's kind of turning away from the whole paramilitary lifestyle she's been leading. And, Batgirl got to do it, so why can't she?
Yeah.
And I guess you can kind of leave it in place.
You could if you wanted to.
But it's weird to go from trained Black Ops military person on the run because the government wants to kill you to cover a Rolling Stone and the government going, where is she? We can't find her anywhere. It's
becoming Jim and the Holograms and hiring King Shark to be your drummer. You know?
It's very Assassin's Creed where you kill someone and the guards chase you and then you just sit on a bench and they're like, where did he go? We can't find him.
I was not aware that was the thing that happened in those games. I might have to try them out. I think if I can make one more little minor gripe here, and mind you, I barely read any of this stuff. I heard about it secondhand from you.
Okay.
But one of the things I really remember them saying when the New 52 started was, we are going to keep Green Arrow and Black Canary apart from each other so they can stand on their own as characters.
Okay.
But the very first thing we're going to do with Black Canary is give her a husband who is very important to her and she relies on heavily, and that's what her entire story is about.
See, I would say that was going to be a backstory, almost like fridging the husband type thing to give her a motive as to why she's out there doing it.
But he kept coming back.
That's the problem. Almost from the first issue, it was brought up that, oh, she killed her husband. Why does she feel she killed him? and he was always a constant thing, and he was proven to be alive, I want to say like 3 or 4 issues into the New 52.
Yeah.
So he was never really out of the picture until they had the little park. Okay, come here, husband. Come here, husband.
Come here.
Choose me. Don't go to Amanda Waller.
Who do you love?
Yeah, until that
so-
moment, that was the actual moment where he left her life. And that was when she decided to front a punk rock band instead.
Yeah.
So hey, why not? I guess we all win in that scenario.
Yeah. Moving on to Red Lanterns number 40. I'm assuming the Guy Gardner connection is what you're going for there.
Yes. I figured since we already had it there, and I have a Lantern book to follow, so I just figured we'd get it all up front here.
All right. So Guy Gardner has been going around the world collecting rage energy from people who were infected by the Atrocitus War that happened towards the end of Charles Soule's run.
And people today, they're very angry.
They're very angry.
They have many things to be angry
I was
about.
going to say, just go on the internet. You can find lots of angry people.
I still think the internet should become a Red Lantern. Just a sentient Red Lantern.
Yeah.
Might as well be. It already is.
Yeah. So it's driving him a little bit nuts, and he almost turns the Earth into a rage mogo, it looks like.
Oops.
And he pulls one out of the Earth 2 Dick Grayson playbook and tries to give his sister, baby Dalton, and ships her out into space. Like, here, take this baby. Get out of here.
What's her name from Central City told me I'm supposed to do this. Here, take this child off my hand.
Yeah. But it turns out he had too much hope in him, and he is able to expel all the rage energy and ditch the red ring. So him and baby Dalton are going to hang out with his sister until he gets back on his feet.
I actually really liked this ending of everything. If you look at the last 3 issues that Walker did,
Yeah.
he's gone from the giant space battle wars against these intergalactic things back to Earth, dealing with the torment, because this character is obviously a very tormented character. For all of the jokes and ha-ha-has and everything, I mean, he gets over his own personal turmoil, but at the end of the day, he has a lot of stuff that is not going well in his life or has not gone well that he's still dealing with, and it kind of brought all that stuff to light while still giving him a clean exit, I guess, from being the ball of rage. He still can be angry. He can still be a Red Lantern. He has hope in him, so he can go the whole Futures and Blue Lantern thing at some point. He's always got a place in the greens. I mean, he's always got a place in the greens. I guess we just have to get him to fall in love. And what else is out there? I don't know. Maybe he could resurrect some dead bodies and have a circus with Black Hand and...
The lesser-known Carney years.
The lesser-known Carney year. You'll have Green Lantern, The Lost Army, and then Green Lantern, The Lost Carney years.
Yes.
But no, I really liked the way that it's been handled. It's been a lot of fun, mixed in with a lot of this exploration of his torment while bringing him back down to a reasonable level that someone can pick him up and run with him from pretty much anywhere at this point again. Because I guess he's getting shelved for a while.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't see.
Not everyone needs to be out there with a book all the time.
No. I mean, that's fine. It wouldn't have been my first choice of the Lantern to get shelved, but you know, hey, that's just me. Still, it's nice to see that he got a nice closure to the whole thing, and he is, you know, out there doing his thing, and he's got little baby Dibble with him to do his thing.
Dalton Dexter Dibble the Third.
Yeah, little baby Dibble. So I also have some Lantern stuff because
Call him three dibs.
Call 3 dibs. I have Sinestro number 11, where things have gone horribly, horribly wrong. Of course, not to plan like Sinestro planned, because Mongul has retrofitted Warworld, the giant planet-sized base of doom that he has with all of the technology of relics so that it can drain the rings of various lanterns. And in this case, he's trying to...
Is he making all the stuff with the that he got from Relic out of boards?
He is.
Because how many boards could the Mongols hoard if the Mongol hordes got bored?
Blink, blink, blink. So he's captured Sinestro. He has captured Sinestro. I'm so flustered now after that. I don't even know what to do. With the assistance of the Apex League, and has locked him up inside Warworld, but luckily Sinestro has called for reinforcements, and they have shown up. And that includes the new god Becca, who has kind of signed on out of morbid curiosity of Sinestro, I guess you could really say, because she doesn't know why she's there, but Sinestro sent one of his condescending messages, and she was like, I guess I'll just see what's going on over here.
Negging me? Is he negging me? What is this?
I don't know what he's doing. Does he realize I'm a god? I mean, does he not understand this whole dynamic? But Becca ends up, basically Mongul runs out there, starts draining all the power off of everyone, and Becca's the only one standing. He's like, ha ha ha, sword woman, you're gonna die because you don't have your ring power. And she's like, apparently you didn't check the roster because I'm a new god. So she just kind of smacks around Mongul for a while, and, Sinestro escapes. Yay! After he has a conversation with the Apex League where he's telling them that, hey, you guys can join me. And they're like, why would we join you? You're tied up in the middle of the base. He's like, hey, don't say I didn't ask. Just don't say I didn't. So he ties up Mongul in all the metal that's floating around there, all the debris, and then puts all the rings of the dead Sinestro core lanterns attached to it and kind of lights them up, and then kicks Mongul off into space and tells the Apex League, hey, that paling group that's trying to kill all emotion, they're going to look for him. This is like a giant beacon of fear emotion. So just follow him around and you'll be able to find your paling group that you want to kill. And they go, okay. And they follow after. He also turns around and goes, so everything has turned out as planned. As expected, I have outsourced our problem with the paling. That Apex League is going to go take care of it. I have turned my chief rival into bait for said rival out there. Yay team. And well, the Green Lantern's already had one, so I figured we needed one too. We now have our own Plantern-sized base, as Warworld is now headquarters of the Sinestro Corps. Yay! I did have to laugh because I thought Noah Austin on Reddit, he's actually one of our listeners as well, summed it up perfectly when he stated that no one says F you as eloquently as Sinestro. Because when you boil down everything he says, it's a derivative of that. It's maybe more flowery. It may be, hidden a little bit more in some sentences than other. But when you distill it down, that's all he is saying to every single being in the universe whenever he deals with them. I thought that was the perfect synopsis of the character for Sinestro.
That's talent right there.
It is. That is some distillation right there. I thought it was quite good. I also have Deathstroke though. No one says, hey you, like Deathstroke.
Yeah.
I've actually been quite enjoying
No one
this.
says, I'm Australian, quite like Deathstroke.
No one does. I've actually been quite enjoying this new run of Deathstroke. It wasn't what I was expecting, and let's just jump into it. Harley and Deathstroke are riding on their Vespa of escapedness. Vzz. Batman's like walking behind them like, I'll get you guys someday. Where they're going to
Wait, he's walking behind
No,
them?
I'm joking about that last part.
They escaped from Batman last issue by riding away on a Vespa, and Batman was sort of like, oh, he took one page out of the Deathstroke handbook. He's like, oh, they're all the way over there.
Watch them
can't
go
reach him.
It's a Vespa.
Yeah, that's what we said.
So they're going
they're going to the last known location of Jericho, Deathstroke's son, to try to track him down. But instead of finding Jericho, they find something else. The dismembered corpse of Possum.
No, not Possum.
No, Possum. But surprise of all surprises, Possum was just playing Possum.
Possum is slowly becoming one of my new favorite characters.
He really is. He goes all Black Knight in this one because Harley reaches down to like flip him over to see what happened, and his head's decapitated and his body's chopped in half, and the head just bites onto Harley's hand and it's like arr, 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 while the dismembered legs are kicking Deathstroke in the shin. He's like, I'll bite your kneecaps off. And I was like, wow, I kind of actually really like this guy. But
yeah, really.
Deathstroke ends up putting his head on the end of his little staff and just kind of like poking him into a wall, going, tell me where he's at, bonk. Tell me where he's at, bonk. And eventually he gives him the intel of where Jericho has gone. And
that's a totally weird visual.
It is a weird visual. But we know Possum's still out there because apparently he's immortal. You can do whatever you want to him, but I guess just don't throw him in traffic because that kills possums pretty quick.
Yeah.
They arrive at the Gotham City airport where Odysseus, aka Deathstroke's dad, is attempting to turn both Jericho and Ravager, his daughter, over to the dark side, just like he did the League of Assassins. He has some sort of mental powers. He can kind of bring people under his will. They end up having a little bit of a fight. Because both Deathstroke and Harley show up, and they all start punching each other. Deathstroke's, of course, squaring off against Odysseus as Ravager and Jericho are trying to fight off the League of Assassins. There's a great scene where Lady Shiva tries to get the jump on Ravager, and Harley just shoots her in the butt and goes, well, did my duty, and then just kind of kicks back on the Vespa to watch the fight for the rest of the time. Lady Shiva, not exactly a easy kill, I guess. So it's kind of humorous to see her just get shot in the butt and have to like hobble around for the rest of the issue. So they end up striking down Odysseus. Yay, victory is won. But unfortunately, his kids don't recognize him because he's suffering from Manu Bennett syndrome. And he's all reduced in age and has both his eyes back. And they're like, yeah, you're not our dad. Who are you? And he's like, no, it's totally me, guys. What's up? We can go to the mall and hang out now. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best time ever. Jericho
want me to buy you some beer?
Yeah. They're gonna actually fight, and Jericho stops it by overloading it because he's just done with all the fighting. Deathstroke gets knocked out, and he comes back to in an apartment somewhere where he finds Red Fury standing over him, waiting for his recovery, and she goes, well, you're kind of lost your fortune. You've lost all your contacts because no one believes you're you. Why don't you just come work with us, and we'll get you reset up, and you can build up your stuff from there, and you can figure out who's behind all this and why you got turned back into young you, and kind of go from there. And he goes, well, best option I have in front of me, so I guess I'll go do it. What do you do, by the way? And they're like, oh, we terminate things. He's like, oh, I'm good at that.
Yeah.
I'm good at that. And so Deathstroke's gonna go terminate things now. Next arc.
It's on his business card.
And that's on his business card. That next arc, though, all I know is it has to do with Wonder Woman's family.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I gotta say, that intrigues me because this book has not been the generic action movie I would expect a Deathstroke book to be. It's been a very cold, calculated action book, I guess, if that makes sense. I.e., we had that entire fight scene with Batman where it was broken down technically into each and every move and counter move. The plotline has been a lot of betrayal and turning on people. There's a bigger plot line that's also going on in the background. It's a lot more intellectual of a book than Deathstroke should be, I guess. And maybe not should be, but what you would initially think Deathstroke would be. And I mean that as a compliment. I don't mean it as this is totally off model. It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's just not what I was expecting in a good way. And it's kind of caught me off guard that I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah, and Tony Daniel's writing and drawing it, you said.
Correct.
Yeah,
So,
I remember him doing a much better job than like an artist like jumping into his first time writing.
yeah.
When he took over one of the Batman books during Grant Morrison's run.
Okay.
Like right after Batman died, he sort of like took over like the Battle for the Cowl aspect that
Okay.
Grant wasn't dealing with.
Okay.
And I remember it was the complete and total like diametric opposite of what Grant was doing. It was very obviously like counter programming, but I also remember saying it's like, this is much better than I would have expected.
Yeah,
So-
and I don't mean that to be I'm
Yeah,
not
exactly.
expecting every artist to be like, oh, you're just going to turn in some piss poor crayon drawing of a script that's going to be all backwards letters and, me are think this good.
Yes.
No, I'm quite sure there are plenty of artists that
They're
are
already
talented in writing.
they're storytellers themselves.
Exactly.
Just
So
in a
it's
different way, but
I guess it's just obviously people are honing different aspects of the craft, so you're expecting that little bit of a ramp up time when you're switching gears like that, and
Yeah.
it seems like he's kind of figured out this book at least and the angle he wants to approach it, and he's doing a really good job on it. I cannot make any complaints whatsoever, other than one scene where it looked like all of a sudden Deathstroke got Terra powers and was throwing rocks at Odysseus. But I guess he was supposed to be shoving.
He was taking one out of the Batman
Yeah,
playbook,
he
the
was like,
Killer Croc playbook,
That was the only one, but then when I went back and reread it, it made sense to me.
because he was fighting Batman. So he took the Killer. He says, "Oh, Killer Croc says you guys throw rocks at him."
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm supposed to do. Ah! So
all
moving
right.
on.
So speaking of Grant Morrison, let's go on to Multiversity Ultra Comics #1.
See, I mauled over whether to make this the first book, but then I was like, I think everyone's just going to tune out after like 30 seconds if this is where we start.
No, this is really easy.
Okay, well, do your thing.
So on Earth 33, our Earth,
Okay.
like you and me, this is our
Hi.
this is our planet that
Hi,
we're dealing
welcome
with
to
here.
Earth 33.
Yes, superpowered beings and such cannot exist.
Yeah, do that oppressive mechanics of physics in
Yeah.
this plane of existence.
Yeah. But to combat fictional multiversal threats, a group of scientists called the Meme Smiths
Such a great name.
built a cybernetic comic book to protect our planet from the Gentry. This comic right here, Ultra Comics. Cybernetic comic book holding in my hands.
Why is he yelling at me?
Well, that's what he does.
So they
So-
built a cybernetic organism?
Yeah.
Was it RoboCop?
Yeah.
Da 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 da.
No.
Da 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 da. I told you I was gonna get RoboCop in here once.
I know. $4.99. I've got a cybernetic comic book.
Okay, well that's a pretty good deal, I guess.
Yeah, I got a discount because I bought it, the week it came out.
I guess that's how you buy cybernetic organisms.
Yeah. So inside of this comic is our hero, Ultra Comics. That's his name, Ultra Comics.
Wow.
I
think marketing could have done a little better on that naming.
Yeah, I think so too.
And he's an idealized superhero who is powered by the imagination crystal that is embedded in his forehead.
Okay.
So he travels through the history of comics with the voices of all the readers in his head, because us, the readers, are giving him the power.
Yeah, it's powered by us.
Mm-hmm.
All of our thoughts and desires and wishes.
Yeah, so he teams up with some kid commandos, fights some creepy crawly monsters, eventually encounters a bunch of other characters who are named Ultra, and one of them tries to bite the imagination gem off of his forehead, but it runs on imagination, so Ultra just has to imagine that it's poisonous, so that stops him.
Well, I guess that's...
So he throws the crystal back up.
Okay, well, I guess that's a good way of doing things.
Yeah. Yeah. So they accidentally activate a transmatter cube, as we've been seeing a lot in the Multiversity, which lets out Gentry member Intellectron. It was hiding in the comic the whole time.
Very blatantly, too.
Yeah. So Intellectron beats the crap out of Ultra Comics, but the Kid Commandos demand a happy ending. So Ultra Comics comes back to full power and points out that the cybernetic comic book wasn't just there to hold him, it was there to trap Intellectron. You see, they're not stuck in there with him, he's stuck in there with all of us.
Yes, and we are a bitter, caustic lot.
Yes, and as Intellectron's self-esteem gets destroyed by some of the snarkier readers of the comic, because he just looks like a giant egg with bat wings, but it fights back. Intellectron fights back, and Ultra Comics is on the rope. So there's only one way to trap Intellectron. You've got to close this book right now and put it down.
And never read it again. Or do you read it again because the beginning is the future coming back in time again to tell you that you have to read it again?
Yeah, you close the book and trap Intellectron. It's very straightforward, except for the whole thing where Ultra Comics teleports from the last page to the first page to warn you about the danger coming at the end of the book. But
So it's caught in its own Ouroboros loop thing? Yeah. And that's how he's trapping the one Gentry member in there?
Yeah.
That's actually, that's pretty tidy.
Pretty awesome.
So how do cannibal kids work into this?
They do. Don't you worry. Pretty straightforward for a Grant Morrison comic book.
Pretty straightforward, right? Right.
Oh my god, this thing is gorgeous.
It really is. This is Monkey, isn't it?
Doug Monkey, yeah. Who does his best work with Grant Morrison, as we've seen on Frankenstein and some of the Final Crisis.
Oh, that's where I saw him before. Yeah. I knew he had worked with them prior because I recognized the style.
Yeah, he did the weird 3D Superman issue, which is not 3D in the trades, but it was when it came out.
Distinct lack of 3D. Yeah. I tried staring at it really, really hard.
Yeah, your eyes went cross-eyed. You just saw a schooner,
Can never get those to work.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, this is an awesome piece of comic bookery.
Yes, very much so, very much so. It's hard to really go in depth on it without spending the entire show on it. The fact that they do make Ultra Comics out of ink, paper, cellulose, everything that we put our imagination onto that defies the laws of physics in our world. That's what he's made out of so that he can basically contain all of our own imaginations as well. I thought that was a nice little staples for us fine. I thought that was a great little imagery line right there. And
the world's very monochromatic until they inject him with cyan, magenta, yellow, and black.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yes. It's as I said, it's an experience book. It's not going to be done justice by us talking about it, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. I highly recommend checking this one out.
The ink port is in a very odd place.
Well,
it was a shower scene and it was really hot.
Yeah.
No, again, check it out. You may put it down and be a little confused. Not going to lie.
Yeah.
Give it a second shot. Give it a second shot if you do.
God, that first page is just perfect.
It is.
Freaking perfect.
It is. So moving on. I think we all know what we're going to say about that book. It was
I was going to say the iZombie thing that's in the book. That's actually a funny show.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm getting ready to marathon it, so I have it all DVR'd.
It's very zombie Veronica Mars.
Fair enough.
which is not a bad thing at all.
No.
I guess it has a fan base. So, another person that has a fan base, and it's outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, truly outrageous. Truly,
Gem?
truly outrageous. Truly, truly Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
Truly Aquaman.
Yeah, I was picking Gem.
Yeah, I know. That's where I was expecting you to go. Aquaman is dealing with a rough family reunion. He found his mother.
Tale of the horrible family reunion.
Isn't that most of them?
Well, this one's gotten a little above and beyond the usual, like, oh, Uncle Joe drank too much again and is being inappropriate. This one, he found his mom on a volcanic island, and unfortunately, his mom wanted to sacrifice her to the volcano, or sacrifice him to the volcano god. He escaped, and it kind of ticked off the volcano. So it's very Arthur versus the volcano, instead of Joe in this case. And this volcano is named Karaqan, the volcano god, and it's stomping around all over the place. The rest of Atlantis showed up to try to help out both Arthur and Mara because they didn't report back. There's this whole big war about to break out, and all of a sudden it's fire imps are being summoned up by Karaqan, the volcano god. And the one person that is I guess you could say, advisor to the queen, Atlanta, she runs over and goes, oh my gosh, I just had a vision. I figured it all out. The last time we defeated this thing, it took the power of the Karaqan. Has anyone seen the Karaqan anywhere? It's a giant monster. It lives in the middle of the ocean.
Wasn't it killed?
Yeah, and it's like Aquaman off in the corner kicking the dirt like, nope, haven't seen it. Never saw that thing. Karaqan, you say? No.
It's just from the movie, right?
No. So yes, Aquaman lopped its head off a bunch of issues back, and they're like, oh, well, if it's lost,
Actually turned it into the Chimera.
yes. Then they're yelling, okay, well, if we can't do that, we need to chop off Karaqan, the volcano god's head, and then dump half the ocean on it to kind of temper it back into a volcano once more. And Dr. Evans, remember the doctor that stole his trident and has been palling around with him since?
Yeah.
He runs over to try to tell Aquaman that news that, okay, here's what you got to do it. But Karaqan, the volcano god, picks him up and snaps him in half, kind of like crunches his spine and drops him down to the ground. And Arthur runs over and they have this touching scene where he's like, no, Dr. Evans, I won't leave you. I'll get you out of this. He's like, no, this is my last stop, but thank you for taking me to Atlantis. And then he dies and Arthur's just on the ground like, no! And that's when Karaqan, the volcano god, steps on. Kind of an odd turn of a scene right there where it's like all dramatic and all of a sudden a volcano steps on them. And what sends Mara into rage mode, where she picks up half of the ocean, just goes, I'm going to use this real quick, and goes mush and just dies out the entire volcano, rendering it dormant. And even Atlanta, the queen, is going, holy shit, did you guys see that? Mara has saved the day, as per usual in this book. It has been Mara that has come to the rescue each and every time. Aquaman really hasn't done much saving at all. But he ends up crawling out from underneath and has a conversation, finally convincing Atlanta that he is her son. When he summons all the sea life to battle all of her dinosaurs on their volcano island. And it looks like they're going to have a pretty awesome scrap where it's a bunch of googly-eyed squids and octopi versus Tyrannosaurus rexes and ankylosauruses and stuff. And I was like, yeah, here we go, the fight of the century. And then she goes, oh, well, I guess you are my son. You can call the sea life there. Cool. You still got to go, though. You can't hang out here. We can't have Atlanteans here, or it makes the volcano god obviously pretty angry. Sorry. Maybe someday, if you're in charge of Atlantis, obviously things have changed. I'll be able to make it back and see it, but not right now. And she kind of teleports them back to just shore, essentially. But sends him back with a shell phone. Hey, here's your shell phone, as we saw before, that Mara had. And it's a nice little voicemail message saying how proud she is that he's still out there and doing his thing, and maybe it isn't a matter of being a pure-blood Atlantean that will actually save Atlantis, but him being of both worlds will be the best for their people. It's very nice. She sends her little signet along as well so that Atlantis will recognize him as the rightful leader of it and stop tearing itself apart because he keeps sitting in a chair. Again, Arthur, not good at being king. A really good arc. It's Jeff Parker's last issue. from everything from Aquaman's high school reunion to the world building of linking him to Gorilla City to linking him to just all these different corners of the DCU. Atlantis.
Especially to laugh Jeff Parker finding a way to work talking gorillas into every comic he does.
You gotta. But he has linked Aquaman and Atlantis to so many corners of the DCU right now that there are much wider options of storytelling that can be done with Aquaman than, hey, he fought some eco-terrorists, but underwater, because Swamp Thing handles on land. So yeah, that was it.
All right, moving on to Infinity Man and the Forever People number 9. So the Infinity Man showed up at the end of last issue saying, hey, Big Bear, I'm going to tell you my origin story.
Okay, what's the last issue?
Because the book's getting canceled.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you put the origin in.
So I'm going to tell you about the new god Isaiah, who is a peaceful freedom fighter trying to save the original Genesis from Darkseid, and the pain and grief he felt when the only way to bring about peace was to trade kids with Darkseid. If you want to bring about peace, you got to start trading kids.
So wait,
they're like
Dick Grayson is actually trying to cause peace.
Oh, that's what he's doing.
We figured it
Oh
out.
my gosh, we did it, Sean. High five from across the thing that we can't reach each
Dick
other.
Grayson is going to become a new god on Earth too because he's just trading kids all over the place just to try to sow world peace. Dick Grayson, you're so smart.
I know. So he goes and he finds the source shard, the piece of the original source wall that the old gods broke and killed themselves with.
Oops.
And then Isaiah splits into two people, Highfather and the Infinity Man. And Big Bear is all, so how does that work? And then Infinity Man goes, it's very important. He says, how? You must help Isaiah. You mean Highfather? Yes, and also me at the same time. Okay, I guess I've got to go tell everyone else about this, but you must be a shepherd and not a warrior. That is extremely vague, Infinity Man. Are you gonna...
Can you just tell me what you want me to do here?
Yeah, I mean, seriously? It's like, trust me, our paths will meet again in the multiverse. It's like, okay, based on sales, I highly doubt that, but cool story, bro, and that's the end of Infinity Man and the Forever People.
But I do like how it explains why Highfather is such a D-bag over in the Godhead
he
thing.
lost all of his goodness. It's in the Infinity
Not his goodness,
Man.
just his compassion.
Yeah.
It was all the emotional side of things that are what split off into Infinity Man, and it's the cold practicality is now Highfather.
Yeah.
And eventually those two have to be remerged once more, which really makes it complicated when you get into the multiversity stuff of there being also multiversal aspects of the character who may or may not have also split themselves into multiversal Infinity Mans. So really he's kind of Highfather's.
Yes.
Yes. That's a complicated dude right there.
Yeah.
Even for being a new god. That's a complicated dude.
If anything, it was Keith Giffen again doing his, pseudo
I
Kirby
honestly thought it
pastiche
was-
artwork. The artwork was great.
I thought it was a good reveal. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a decent story for back explaining different things that didn't quite make sense as to why that is. It also shows why it's in Wonder Woman, even when he was dealing with Orion, there was kind of this old, like, weird, almost pride, like, I want to treat you like my kid, but I also have to just really be distant and cold to you all the time. You remember the whole thing where they went to New Genesis?
Yeah, and he left Orion just a crying mess.
Yeah, and it just dismantled the guy, and then eventually Orion stole the baby, the baby Zeke, and flew away with it. And as soon as he was out of earshot, Highfather was kind of like, "Hey, good job, you did exactly what I wanted you to do," kind of thing. You have some character within you. You did the right thing in this scenario. So, I mean, it kind of backfills all of that relationship for me, at least, because I don't have anything other than you saying, it's Darkseid's kid, that's why he has constipation face.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it backfilled stuff for people like me, while also giving an explanation for that duality of the character.
Yeah.
So,
It's just sort of weird that, like, that important part just sort of got shoved off in the last issue of a book no one was
you
reading.
mean like Darkseid's daughter and Vibe?
I suppose that's true.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many things just shoved into corners where they're just like, this is really important. You guys should read this book, and then no one reads the book, and they go, well,
she did show up in Superman Batman.
Yeah.
But
So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So, Earth 2 World's End number 5, Dick Grayson, cause of world peace. All I'm saying is take this baby off my hands. They are leaving Atom's Haven. All the escape craft are flying up to try to meet up with the giant Ark spaceship, but Calabac, with his action poses of just arms going thump, thump, thump.
Hey, that's what my old Calabac action figure did when I was a kid.
Has charged in with his proto-furies, his elite parademons, and they're going to try to bring down all the ships. So those that have stayed behind, conveniently enough, Batman and Dick Grayson, are manning the batteries of guns to try to gun down the parademons as they fly up to try to tear down these ships. And it's Dick Grayson like, so, you're Batman? He's like, yup, I'm Batman. Cool. I have to protect this stuff because I think my kid's on one of those ships. I think he's on the lead ship. You sure? I'm pretty sure. Let's just shoot down everything. Woo! And they start gunning down all the parademons left and right. Meanwhile, Darkseid is tossing around Val-Zod and Power Girl up on Apocalypse itself and ends up throwing Val-Zod back down to Earth itself, Earth 2 in this case. Power Girl gouges out his eyes. Ocular distress. Actually, it's the exact same eye that he just healed from the first story of Justice League that Wonder Woman stabbed with a sword, so I could just picture in his head like, no, I just got that fixed. Oh, God, heroes. So he ends up throwing her back down to Earth as well and then jumps down after her, and they are about to fight, but that's when the rest of the, I guess we could call them Justice Society, all like the Flash, Hawkman, or Hawkgirl, Dr. Fate, Batman, Huntress, all the people of Earth 2, the heroes of Earth 2 that are there, show up to go to fight him, and they're like, haha, we're gonna take you down, Darkseid, once and for all. In space, though, the Terrifics, both Mr. and Horrific, have summoned all of the arcs that Terry Sloan built on each one of the multiversal planes. Because remember, he built contingencies on each one of the Earths for just in case Darkseid showed up to eat that Earth, he could try to get some of the people off. So they summon all of the ships from the different multiverse so they can get the 2 million people off of Earth 2, because obviously they didn't have enough space on just one ship. Unfortunately, as they open in this door, well, I guess fortunately in this case, they open up the gateway to the multiverse, and Alan Scott senses the multiverse, and he goes, holy crap, there's a lot of green power energy out there in the multiverse, and kind of pulls it all into himself, and goes soaring on down to Earth as the multiversal Green Lantern. Because remember, he pulls his stuff from the green, like Swamp Thing does on our Earth, but in this case, he's pulling it from the green and all of the planets in the multiverse now. And he goes down to help out his friends face off Darkseid, but as we can see, Darkseid has already dismantled all of them, as well as a random dinosaur, and is about to take down Alan Scott as they go to fight mano a mano. So I guess Alan Scott gets to be the big hero in this one, because there's only one issue left.
Yeah.
Unless Dick Grayson comes out and hands a baby to Darkseid, and that's the end. Yeah. They all go about their lives then. I think that would be a pitch-perfect ending to this book, and I would just stand up and applaud if that was the last page.
Low clap.
With just Dick Grayson like, yeah, you all thought I was a fool, but here, all along, I was the real hero. Mm-hmm. So last but not least.
All right, we're going to take...
It's kind of intersecting here.
Yeah.
Because all of the people of Earth 2 have gotten out of the arcs, and they're like, well, now where do we go? Where do we go, Brian?
Well, we're going to find out 5 years in the future.
5 years in the future.
And the new 52 Futures End number 47. So Brother Eye is busy trying to take over the world by beginning his spider robot plague, and Mr. Terrific, Batman, and the Atom are powerless to stop it. But they didn't count on former Red Robin Tim Drake, who, as we all know, is currently living under the name Trapezoid Prawnmonger.
Oh, Jesus.
Who, as we all know, has taken over the Batman Beyond suit.
Wait, so he's taken over the Batman suit, so that means that you can forever call him, you know, crazy names? I could see Sean's brain exploding.
So the time jump belt that Batman Beyond came back with is ready to go back to the right time to stop Brother Eye. So Batman is all, let me do it, I'm the only one who does stuff right, ignore the whole creating Brother Eye thing. But it turns out that Trapezoid was just about the same weight as Terry McGinnis, because I guess Batman has a type when it comes to sidekicks.
I guess.
But how can we power up the time jump belt? We need to take a jump to the left and then a step to the right. But no, it's too complicated.
Why are you pelvic thrusting over there?
So, luckily, Firestorm Madison Payne, Trapezoid's ex-girlfriend, shows up, and they have a surprisingly long reconnection on the rooftop, while everyone else is all like, hey, lovebirds, zombies, spider robot zombies clawing through the ceiling.
I like how they're standing on the roof and there's just the hole with all the spider robots down in it. And I just pictured just Batman and everyone just bonking them on the head with sticks like whack-a-mole as they would pop up while this entire conversation was going out.
Yep, so they roll their eyes and stop making out long enough for Firestorm to power up the time jump belt, and Trapezoid Prongmonger goes back to the exact point
Gotta go back in time!
where the Brother Eye satellite is supposed to signal the Earth 2 Refuge Arc spaceship. So he convinces Brother Eye that doing that really screws things up and that he goes evil, and it'll get really confusing if there's multiple versions of the same people from different Earths all living together. And since Brother Eye still thinks that saving lives and avoiding X-Men style continuity is logical at this point, it just self-destructs and sends Batman Beyond to the now that replaces what was before, basically changing what we thought was the end of World's End that we saw halfway through Future's End.
Yeah, so Future's End has been rewritten at this point.
Future's
what?
End, they stopped the point in time that created the Future's End future. That also what we thought was the end of the World's End book.
In the present day, Earth 2 is being destroyed by Darkseid and Apocalypse, right?
Okay.
He's over there going pow, 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 destroying it.
Okay.
In Future's End timeline, the Earth 2 people escaped from Earth 2 and came to our Earth 0, I'm sorry, not Earth 33. They come to Earth 0, but then Darkseid follows them, and there's a big war, and all these horrible things happen, and oh, geez, and that's what makes it so darkest timeline here in Future's End. In this case, instead of Earth 2 people coming and Darkseid following, Brother Eye just goes, nope, we're just not going to tell them I'm here, and the Earth 2 people just kind of sail on by, and Darkseid keeps following them elsewhere, so now everything that happened in Future's End would be rewritten.
So it doesn't exist.
Kind of.
So
I mean, everything does exist in some form or fashion, but
they may have just formed a new multiversal world or something by accident.
yeah, whoops.
So it's just a gigantic reset button.
Kind of, but we're still having characters come out of it.
We're still having characters come out of it. They really earned it.
They did earn it. Yeah,
throughout the rest of the
wasn't.
story.
Yeah, it wasn't a just okay. We had our fun, hit the reset button type thing. It's not an end of the Simpsons episode with the big reset button at the end of each one.
Yeah.
So
So last thing Brother Eye does before he hits the reset button is like he gives one last time jump to Batman Beyond, and so Batman Beyond falls into a forest and literally hits every branch on the way down.
yes, he does.
And then he looks up and he sees something. It's the end of the New 52 as we know it, and it ends next week. We don't know what it is yet.
Such a crappy cliffhanger on the second to last issue.
Yeah.
I was like, come on. I mean, it
Can
did
we
its
get a
job.
shadow or something? Come on.
Yeah, it did its job. Don't
It's
get
a
me
smoke
wrong.
monster.
Oh no!
That's all it is, just a smoke monster.
Hopefully, he has arrived back in time to find all of our favorite characters like Plastique and Lana Lang and 50 Sue. I just had a mind blank there for no apparent reason. All of them just standing there going, "Hey, this is our Earth now, yeah!" And freeze frame, and that's how it ends. And it's the rest of the issue of them in freeze frame as you keep turning the page. Yeah, and then it'll be like the old greeting cards with the music playing as you're turning the pages. I could buy that. But that's it. That's all of our books for this half of the show. I think they really brought the noise when it came to the weeklies this week. As far as World's End was a completely plausible storyline as far as the build up and everything. I had no qualms with it. So the weeklies seem to be pretty solid as they're coming to their ends. We still have one more coming up in the second half, but Brian, what do you have?
I've got Gotham Academy number 6.
Oh.
I've got Gotham by Midnight number 5. I've got The Flash number 40. I've got Star-Spangled War Stories featuring G.I. Groin Kicker.
Yeah, I think after Convergence, we're going to have to revisit some of the splits here. You just claim everything. You're like the Pac-Man, the hungry hippo of comics when they get announced, where you're just like, mine. I also have Batman Eternal number 51, the penultimate issue. Batman and Robin. The last issue. There's an annual next week, so thankfully it's not done forever. Arkham Manor number 6, Catwoman number 40, and last but not least, Justice League Dark number 40. So hold on a couple seconds. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will go through those books. Damn it, I waited until you even ate so your mouth was full.
As soon as I did it, I knew it was going to happen.
I was like, hey, Brian, would you like some Twix? They're quite delicious.
My spider senses started tingling.
But we're in the Bat half of the show, so we're starting off with Batman Eternal number 51. Gotham is ablaze. The villains are running rampant. Batman is nowhere to be found. Oh my goodness, everything's going to hell in a handbasket here in Batman Eternal. But let's check in with everyone else real first before we talk about the Batman himself. Catwoman is trying to keep a desperate hold on the crime families of Gotham because they're like, hey, apparently it's free for all looting outside. We could probably go get some stuff or claim some land even or anything like that. I mean, we are mobsters. It's kind of what we do, and it's free for all out there. And she's like, no, I haven't decided if we're going to participate in Crime Day here in Gotham or not. It's a national holiday in Gotham, Crime Day. You just go out there and commit crimes. So she's basically trying to figure out how she wants to play it. We'll touch more on that.
It's a religion of crime holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
I just steal candy and cookies from Sean. That's my crime.
That's your crime holiday?
Yep.
You're keeping it small key, aren't you there? So
and you know that I'm doing it, so it's not like I'm being sneaky.
No. But maybe that's even more bitter in the crime, where you're just watching the person as you steal it.
Just defiantly just staring Sean down while eating his Twix.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Gordon is leading the GCPD out to secure all of the police stations, and he leaves Bard back as acting commissioner. Kind of gives him his redeeming moment, like, hey, you got us into this mess. I brought you here because I think you're a good cop. Prove me right. Do your thing. And Bard kind of steps up to it and is trying to lead the response from the police. Meanwhile, Bluebird is trying to save people, aka Harper Row. She's out there pulling people out of fire, saving kids. She's completely beat up. She was not trained for this type of stuff whatsoever. But that's when Spoiler rolls up on a motorcycle and is like, vroom, 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 vroom.
I was hoping she rolled up on a Tokyo Drift car with a gigantic spoiler on.
No, she did not. Part of the reason I'm such in bad shape today is, A, because I was sick and I couldn't fall asleep, but B, was because HBO was running a Fast and Furious marathon last night, and because Brian keeps bringing up Tokyo Drift, I was like, well, let me watch this movie and see what it is about, because I never actually made it through the entire movie. It's a movie. It's a movie.
You mind, I've never actually seen the movie, Sean.
As I was telling you earlier, there's a scene halfway through the movie where they're running away for a guy trying to shoot them, and they're just Tokyo drifting, slaloming back and forth down the street. And I was just sitting there the entire time, and there's one American in Japan, and I'm like, is he gonna be the wise guy that just goes, hey, if I drive straight, I'm totally gonna get away with no problem whatsoever. Anyway, moving on. Spoiler does roll up and go, hey, I'm skipping town. Obviously, Gotham is in bad shape. You want to come with? We can Thelma Louise it out of here and have some fun together and just kind of go be girl power and everything. And Bluebird is, of course, going, you don't quite get what we do here in Gotham, do you? I'm going to go save people. You skip town if you're going to skip town. The bridge is clear according to everyone else. You can get out if you head this direction. And she kind of drives off into the night. Spoiler. Jeez. What can you expect from someone trained at Krav Maga class at the library?
Yeah.
I mean, this is out of her depth.
Yeah.
We're not gonna lie here. She shouldn't be getting mixed in with this stuff. So finally, on top of Beacon Tower, Batman is chained to the bat signal by the man behind it all, Clue Master and Family Gang Night, who is gloating and monologuing. This is his chance. Oh, I'm a C-list villain. I never get to monologue. Oh, I have been dreaming of this moment all of my poor, pitiful existence.
Which means he's about to be taken down because he's monologuing.
No, actually, he gets full monologue off. This is like probably 80% of the book is Clue Master just talking to Batman, carves out the bat symbol on his chest, takes off the cowl and goes, "Oh, you're Bruce Wayne." Ha ha.
Well then.
Never would have figured that one out. It makes a lot more sense now. I mean, obviously, you're Bruce Wayne.
If you take into account the whole Dick Grayson being Nightwing thing, it's even easier,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
How did we miss that one?
I not put one and one together on that one. That was a pretty big clue, and that's kind of my MO.
Yeah.
Probably should have figured that one out. But he's talking about how during Forever Evil, he and Family Gang Night were playing cards in his kitchen. Quite literally, that's what they were doing. And they were joking around about how, you know, Batman's off there chasing the Joker and stuff. We could probably just go rob whatever we want because he's so focused on his A-list villains. We're so low on the totem pole, he'll assume the cops are going to get us or something, and we could get away with whatever we want. And they all laughed about it. They're like, yeah, wouldn't that just be funny? And it resonated with Clue Master. He's like, you know what? There's something here. I mean, we really get no respect. We are career criminals. That's what we are. We have devoted our lives to crime, and we are just relegated to being laughing stocks and second list villains. But if we all work together and just sent him out, chasing after all of his A-list high, above the fold villains out there that everyone knows and everyone loves, we can do whatever we want in the background. It's the perfect plan, really, and we will finally get our respect. So that's what he's been doing. He's been manipulating everyone. He just needed that one thing to set it up so that people would feel that Gotham was weak and ready to be conquered, and that was tricking Gordon, in this case using the Mad Hatter tech and the everything out there to make Gordon think that he needed to shoot his gun, and that's what he did, and he got locked up. And that was it. That was the signal gun for all of these A-list villains to show up and start doing their thing. And he's been in the background. As we know, he had Signal Master messing up traffic and Ratcatcher down there driving up all the vermin into the streets to make the city all evil and crazy. And it was a great plan. He's like, this is it. This is the moment of the C-listers. And they even have like this little scuffle. Batman gets free, but he's so exhausted. Clue Master ends up beating him up, and he's like, "Hey, I appreciate you getting a couple shots in. It wouldn't be like a dramatic ending if you didn't struggle to the end, but this is the end. I'm gonna pull out my gun, and I'm just gonna shoot you in the face because unlike the A-listers, I don't really have to worry about any of the neurotic, crazy ways of killing you. No death traps. I'm just gonna shoot you right in the face." And he's about to pull the trigger, and that's when all of a sudden a hand comes out from the shadows and slits Clue Master's throat.
Oh.
Tossing his body to the ground. And I was like, no.
Clue Master, no.
Clue Master.
You finally did it.
This whole issue was so perfectly paced to make everyone accept that Clue Master was behind us. It was so perfectly, and from his perspective, he was. He was the guy completely behind this. But the guy that's been manipulating Clue Master and Family Gang Night even steps out. The guy that's been financing his operation, Lincoln March, a.k.a. Owlman, steps out and goes, "Hey, bro, let's say we finish this. You know, we tried to kill each other last time and destroyed half of Gotham, so I figured, what better way to do it while Gotham's ablaze? It's gonna be super cool."
So is this the Court of Owls, Owlman?
Yes, correct. This is not the Earth 3 Owlman.
Not evil Owlman.
Yeah, this is the Owlman with the, as the internet calls them, boob missiles. Cause his owl, the chest plate has like holes here that shoot missiles.
That's
okay. So when he's not conducting all of the crime and pulling all the strings in Gotham City, he's designing Katy Perry's concert outfits?
Yeah.
Okay.
He also has Left and Right Shark as minions.
Yes.
Which would be awesome.
Oh, if only. If only.
Again, it was perfectly paced to make everyone bite.
Ooh, when I finally get to write No Star Aquaman, that's his new sidekick, Left and Right Shark.
Aquaman.
Before Aquaman got cool, I wanted so badly to write a book called No Star Aquaman.
I think Aquaman has always been cool.
Yeah.
I think you just didn't understand.
Okay.
But if you get left shark and right shark in there, I'm game. I'm game. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Again, perfectly paced to make everyone bite. Everything I read, everyone I talked to was like, by the beginning, I was still incredulous. I didn't want to believe it was Cluemaster behind the whole thing. By halfway through, I had gained acceptance, and I was like, oh, man, I can't believe he pulled this crap off. And by the end, I was actually outraged that Cluemaster, who has really, it was almost like, hey, A-list villain coming through, excuse me, just pushing him right back down.
Mm-hmm. Poor Cluemaster.
What if nothing? He died thinking that he did it.
Well, if you would have got the shot off, I think he would have died happy.
But still.
Yeah, I guess he could go down with that brief glimmer of, I could have won.
Well,
almost had him.
But the thing is, how his throat was slit. He probably died right away.
Well, he is actually on the ground gurgling.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a pretty painful death, it looks like.
Okay, because I was going to say,
a lot of glurbles
no.
coming out as he's like, twitching a bit.
See, I would have made it a clean kill so that he thinks that, he dies happy. That,
No.
You're not thinking like a supervillain, Kelly.
He doesn't even get that much. But the whole thing was set up so I expected, spoiler, Stephanie Brown to come in, redeem herself to fend off her dad since he's the one behind it all, and fight him off to save Batman and get her integrated with the family. Totally set up for that. I was like, here we go. Kind of paint by numbers. Pretty easy to figure out where this is going.
Screw you,
Dad.
Dad.
Screw you. But that's what the comic said to me was, screw you. I'm going this way now. And just stabbed him and went about their life. Really good. Really, really good. But if we're going to keep it really good, we cannot have that conversation without bringing up Batman and Robin. Because Batman and Robin has the distinction of being the book that really sealed the deal of me getting into comic books. As far as the relationship between Damian and Batman and how it has been portrayed. That was the first emotional link I had. And now we have the quote-unquote last issue of Batman and Robin. Sad days for me.
Sniff.
Sad days. But it's not that easy to be a dad. It's especially not that easy to be a dad when you're a crime fighter. And it's especially not easy when your 10-year-old son now has superpowers. So Batman's trying to figure out a way to deal with that, but crime does not wait for Family Matters. Unless Family Matters is actually on TBS, then it waits to watch that.
What if it's a Waldo Geraldo Faldo episode?
Then crime will wait for at least a half an hour.
Yeah.
But in this case, a kaiju is marching on Japan.
Welcome to the Shatterdome.
Giant monsters marching on Japan, and it's up to the Justice League with Damian on point to take down this giant monster that's going to destroy all life on Japan. And it's this great fight scene of everyone kind of deferring to Damian as he's kind of leading the charge and everything, and they're like giving him pointers on how to use his superpowers. Like, all of a sudden he has heat vision and Superman's like, oh, you're really going to want to focus on something and then just kind of move your eyes slowly along the seams there. He's like, oh, okay, I got it. It's this great little scene of them out there doing this thing. And as the internet pointed out, Batman's flying around like a Pokemon trainer, like, use heat vision now!
Damian Wayne.
But they end up actually conquering the kaiju when Damian stabs a giant radio tower into it and has Shazam call down the lightning onto it, electrocuting it and frying it down to the ground. And everyone's like, yay, Damian, you saved us all. You're the best, Damian. Oh, you're such a good superhero now. And Batman's just like, get in the car. Fill out the reports for this or something. You have homework. Just go. And Damian's, of course, like, man, never good enough for you, Dad.
Dad.
He jumps in the car and is like prepping everything up. And it turns out this entire thing was a quote unquote play date that Batman set up with the Justice League. And that the kaiju was a giant robot controlled by Cyborg back at the Watchtower, who is sitting there eating, Doug's Crunchy Snacks while just like playing on a Nintendo controller like, yep, it was pretty fun. Thanks, guys. Because Batman wanted to try to drain the power reserves of Damian to see if he had him use all of his powers, it would drain them all out. Apparently didn't get the super hearing because they're having this conversation pretty blatantly right outside the door. And they're like, well, he did pretty good, you have to admit. I mean, he was calm. He didn't let the powers like control him. He controlled the powers, was still mindful of his teammates. And he's like, yeah, but he's a 10-year-old kid. I still want to try to get rid of these power things. They're like, well, best of luck, Batman. Apparently it didn't work. So you have a good day. I guess we'll see you at the office tomorrow, huh? And he's like, yeah, see you at the office tomorrow. And they fly on back to the Batcave where Damian is so excited. He's trying to fill in Alfred about how awesome it was. He's like, I have laser eyes, pew, 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 pew. And I was flying around. And he's tossing Alfred up in the air. And Alfred's like, please don't break me, sir. And he's so hyped. And he's like, oh, it's the best. I love it. I'm going to run around with the Justice League more now that I have all these superpowers. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to fix all the world's problems. And he eats all his food and ends up falling asleep because he's so exhausted from his day of fun, and they put him to bed, and that's when they find that Damian actually finished the painting of Bruce Wayne and all of the sons. Do you remember this from earlier in the arc? How there was, right before Damian died, they were having the painting done of him and all of the other Robins except for Jason Todd, because he's an outcast. He wouldn't even show up for the painting. But Damian actually finished it and goes, hey, I figured you guys would want this. I learned painting because I'm a Renaissance kid. I'm a 10-year-old. I've mastered everything. Come on now, guys. And the next morning, the sun comes up. And it's a beautiful day. But Damian realizes something's not quite right when he cuts his finger on a piece of paper. And he runs over to the fireplace and he's like prying his eyes open, like going, got a heat vision. Why isn't it working? Why isn't anything working? He runs and he jumps out the window and he can't fly. So he ends up falling down and he's holding onto the ledge as Bruce Wayne's staring out the window to see his son hanging from a ledge. He's like, everything all right there, son? He's like, my powers are gone. Oh, shucks. That's horrible news there, Damian. Yes.
So did he put a necklace of kryptonite, on
No,
him?
it was just, apparently it was a limited amount of power of the chaos energy from when he was brought back, and as he's expended it all, it's going away, and, Damian's a little sad about it at first, and he's like, well, guess I just have to go back to punching people in the face and being awesome without superpowers. Yep. It's not like it was that rough before. And that's when the bat signal goes off and the two of them go charging off into the action and they go swinging through the city. And after a couple of minutes of swinging through the city, Damian looks over at Batman and he goes, you feeling okay? And Batman goes, yeah, I'm fine. Why? You've been smiling for like the last 5 minutes. And as Batman's looking at him with pride, he's just swinging through and he goes, yeah, I guess I have. And that's how they end it. And I'm like, man, just such a good tone for this book.
Clap.
It really is. The entire thing because it's just such an easy thing to just be a popcorn Batman and Robin adventures, do. But instead it has grasped the entire thing of how a 10-year-old kid or younger sees his dad as a superhero, but his dad actually is a superhero and he's out there, and it's this reverse dichotomy of Batman trying to teach his son to be a good person while his son's teaching him and blah, blah, blah. And it's so good. So good.
So all the dad feels.
It really is. That's what it is. I loved it. And I'm sad to see it go, but it worked for what it was. And that's why I said it was the first emotional tie I had because it just hit that tone spot on where you see Damian looking at his dad with his rose-colored glasses, and you see the dad looking at his kid with his rose-colored glasses, and they're just both not seeing each other's faults, or at least completely aware of them, and that's their point of contention, but they won't change their ways because they both know what's best. Oh, I'm my own man, Dad. No, you're my son while you live under this roof. You're not gonna stop stabbing people. Damn it.
Well, Damian's getting his own book, and he's gonna start domesticating Krampuses. So hey,
I mean, you gotta
Can't
move
go wrong
on
with that.
sometimes. It's puberty. That's what you do in puberty. You tame the Krampuses.
Yep. That's one way of putting it, I suppose. So moving on to Gotham Academy number 6.
Speaking of puberty.
Yes. The cover features Olive defeating Batman by using his only weakness, hitting Batman on the back of the head with a rock. Croc was so close.
He knew it, but he was
the
throwing
wrong
it to the
direction.
front.
Yeah. So, doesn't actually happen in the book. So, Batman just assaulted the fun little party that Killer Croc was having with a group of precocious school children because no man will have a skin condition in my city.
Honestly, when you started coming back to comics, did you ever expect to say that phrase? The precocious school children and Killer Croc are having a fun little meeting of their high school?
No. Croc starts throwing things at Batman. Everything he can find. Chairs, clocks. Something's gotta work. Keep throwing. Find a rock. So the kids beat feet, but Olive stays behind to yell at Batman because Croc didn't do anything.
He's just got a skin condition.
He's got some itchy elbows. Come on. Leave him alone. Yeah, except for, also the whole escape from prison thing, but, hey, whatever. So she uses her fire starter powers to light Colton's bag of fireworks ablaze, and luckily it's more than just black snakes, it's actual fireworks, so pew, pew, pew. The whole North Hall starts going up in flames again.
Oops.
Again.
So that now Olive has pyro powers.
Yes.
It's
been alluded
I know it's
to.
been alluded, but we've never actually saw it in action until now. Or were they actually pyro powers, or was Maps over there with like a flint and steel going, pyro powers activate?
Yep. Yeah, so as Batman gets distracted by a bunch of Roman candles, it's like, screaming memes.
Batman hates crime and fireworks.
Yeah. Fireworks are an aspect of crime. So
this is a no fireworks zone.
So while Batman's doing that, Croc is able to grab Olive and help her escape the fracas. He tells her about how her mom was the only person in Arkham that treated him like a human being, and when she wasn't all crazy and doped on meds, they were friends. So,
except when the bad personality came out, where there was a duality to her mom, where there was the nice her mom and then like an evil person. Did you get kind of that vibe?
It's a possibility. He's like, sometimes she's going crazy, sometimes she was doped up on meds, but when she wasn't one of those, she was pretty cool.
Yeah.
She helps Croc get away and swim off in a swamp, and thanks him for his help. They may meet again one day. Croc is so awesome.
He really is.
Yeah.
Again, I've said it multiple times. He's one of the most interesting characters in the New 52 for me.
So after she lets her friends know she's okay, Batman shows up and demands Millie Jane's diary back. The very important copy that she had with extra notes in it. It's very important.
You have volume 2. I have volume 1, and it left on a cliffhanger. I need to know how it ends.
Yeah. And she goes, well, it was in the bag of fireworks, so we'll never know what the secrets of it were. So at lunch the next day, after Olive's flaky drama queen roommate leaves for Metropolis Academy, Maps figures out that the double A symbol they've been investigating must stand for Arkham Asylum, since the two places were connected. What's up with the whole mystery of that? So Olive, Maps, Colton, Pomeline, and Olive's ex-boyfriend Kyle form the Detective Club. Simple Minds starts playing in the background, and Maps raises her fist in the air triumphantly.
Don't you forget about me.
But wait, after the credits roll,
Uh-oh.
there's a bonus scene. Someone sneaks into Olive's dorm with a grappling hook, finds the not burned up copy of Diary of Millie Jane Cobblepot, and steals it. Then we go to the headmaster's office, where we meet the newest student of Gotham Academy, Damian Wayne.
Yes!
Sorry, I was late, Dad. I forgot I had to give my dad this book. And so he slips the book into Bruce Wayne's hands. He opens it up, sees a little note in the front, to BW from MW. I hope you like this book. It was Bruce Wayne's copy when he was at Gotham Academy.
Yep.
That his mom gave him.
Yep.
Oh. Damian and Gotham Academy.
So good.
My monthly donation checks must be clearing.
Yeah, apparently, because you're just basically getting what you want. As I said, now that they've finished the Millie Jane class, as far as the Penguin stuff, if Demon Knights end up being one of the classes,
ooh, I'm giddy.
I'm literally just gonna send you over to their studios so that you can just dictate the rest of the issues.
Okay.
So can we just have Vandal Savage come in on a lecture tour?
Yeah.
And then Jonah Hex rides in on a robot horse just to show the kids what old life Western time was like in Gotham City.
Yep.
I do want to know what was for lunch though.
It was pizza day.
No, was it pizza day? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I do like how there's the, do you remember the first issue of this book? Mm-hmm. The first and second issue?
Yeah.
How it was the full panel got the all-you-can-eat waffle bar.
Yeah.
And then this one got a full panel of all-you-can-eat pizza.
And it was beautifully and deliciously rendered, too.
It was. But I do love how the all-you-can-eat food is really the selling point, like we said at the beginning of this thing. This ended so much stronger than I had hoped for because that first issue or two, I thought it was good. I thought it looked very great. I thought it was a great different tone. But even if you go back and listen to our first discussion on the first issue, I was a little hesitant because not much happened. It was like, here's a character, and here's another character. And then it was
characters
like,
I want to hang out with.
well, I know, but I didn't know them from Joe. So it was a very slow build. But by I think the third issue, it completely hooked us. So if you only gave it one or two issues and it was a little bit of a too slow of a build for you,
finish out the arc.
Yeah, finish out this first arc, honestly, and see what you think about it because it really did ramp up. There is a storyline going on. And, honestly, they're throwing in characters that we absolutely adore. Mm-hmm. It may not be your cup of tea, but when Damian and the new 52 Killer Croc that we're loving are running around in this book, I'm not going to complain whatsoever. Yeah. And a teen bat, sorry. Yeah. There's a teen bat flying around as well. Yeah. So, yeah, that should be all you need to buy this book.
Bat.
A limited series, though. Arkham Manor also came out this week with Arkham Manor number 6, the last in its little mini run there, detailing the adventures when Wayne Manor got turned into the Arkham Asylum after Arkham Asylum burned down and fell into the swamp. Batman is trying to track down Batman is trying to track down Seth Wickham.
Man, Cully would love a comic about Barkman.
Seth Wickham, who is a mentally ill guy, the patient that the weird spider killer that was living in the walls of the manor drilled into his head and didn't kill him, was just like trying to give him a lobotomy with a hand drill, and it didn't quite work. And Seth Wickham seems to think he actually died, and he's going around killing all the people that he loves so that they can be dead with him. And he's already killed his parents. And Batman tracks him down and takes him in. And Seth Wickham swears vengeance because Batman didn't just let him be dead. Yeah, let's be angry about that. But I mean, he got his head drilled into, so I can't really fault him for poor decision making. Clarity's sake, I guess. As they're driving back, though, Alfred shows Bruce Wayne the paperwork that says they can reclaim the house back from the city because they unlawfully seized it. Wayne Enterprises had nothing to do with all the stuff in Batman Eternal. They shouldn't have just claimed your house. Obviously, all that truth came out that Cluemaster was the one behind it all. Of course he was. So he shows them the paperwork, and Bruce Wayne decides, you know what? I'm actually going to leave them there until Arkham Asylum gets rebuilt. Plus, it has some advantages. And as he gets back to the Batcave, he can see all of the cameras that are set up through the manor and track what's going on. Like Mr. Freeze, who has built an igloo outside and is barbecuing and welcoming people to Arkham Asylum as they pull up. Hi, welcome to Arkham Asylum. Would you like a sausage or something as you traipse through the halls?
I would have thought that he would be giving away like things that are cold, like popsicles.
Snow cones.
Snow cones,
I know.
yeah. Didn't he steal a gigantic snow cone maker in
Ice
Batman Eternal or
cream.
something?
Yeah, that was his payment in Batman Eternal, was the root beer float machine.
Yes.
Or the old soda machine so he could make root beer floats. Mm-hmm. But also he goes in and sees that, Dr. Jeremiah Arkham, the guy in charge of the place, is lying to the cops about Batman's alter ego, calling after he escaped and threatening him. And, oh, man, I'll keep you up to date, but it's scary around here. I don't know what he's gonna do next. He's surely probably gonna break in and maybe torture more people or something. It wouldn't be me. It would be that other guy that escaped, though. So Batman's like, you're up to something. You're not quite right there, Mr. Arkham. And last but not least, Scarecrow is planning an escape. He's like, hey, there's apparently tunnels underneath here. Killer Croc told me, and they lead to a school. We could totally cause a whole bunch of mayhem. What say we, like, play it calm, and we all just kind of, like, shuffle out through these underground tunnels and escape. And that's when Batman's watching on the camera, his big smile on his face, like, ho, ho, ho. Let's see you try, because I'm just going to be standing at the end of that tunnel punching you in the face as soon as you get down there.
Wait, so there's underground corridors between Bruce Wayne's manor, Arkham Asylum, and Gotham
There's just
Academy?
underground caverns underneath, and that they're going to expect to escape.
Oh.
I'm making the link there
Just as
as a joke
and a
type
jape.
thing. Yes. Ha ha ha!
'Cause really, what's under there is the Batcave.
really what's under there is this underground Gotham that's
Yeah.
reverse. But
It's
really
upside
what's
down,
under
yeah.
there is an underground lake. But really what's under there...
There's a guy in a Viking boat with a coat of pennies.
But really what's under there... So, yeah. Arkham Manor was very interesting. It was not what I expected at all. So much humor with Mr. Freeze. Honestly, it's a Mr. Freeze I could get behind. So if they want to run with that moving forward instead of the really dour... I understand that you can have different interpretations of these characters. It makes me sad. We've been having, who was it? Jason Hatcher has been posting all the pictures from, Demon Knights on our Facebook page of how awesome Vandal Savage was in the old timey days and why we have felt so sad when it's not that Vandal Savage that shows up at any other time point.
Yeah.
So I understand, you can have the different interpretations, especially through time and stuff like that, but I get really attached to certain interpretations, and this interpretation of Mr. Freeze, I'm kind of attached to.
hey, Penguin, can you loan me some of your rocket penguins?
No, not that one. That one can go away.
Well, no, not that. Not the Penguin. No, I want Mr. Freeze to team up with the rocket penguin.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, then I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Next on the list,
Gotham
Brian.
by Midnight, number 5. So Judgment is breaking out over Gotham, and the Spectre is loose and fighting a giant Native American swamp demon collective over the skyline of Gotham.
So Tuesday.
Yeah. Literally beat me to it. The demon thing is trying to get Spectre to judge Gotham, the guiltiest city on the planet, and wipe it off the face of the earth. Batman flies his bat plane through the insanity. He's all, I'm Batman, I can handle this, I have everything under control. And he bombs the demon, and it just builds itself right back together again. And he's like, I meant to do that.
Batman hates biblical judgment.
Yes. Meanwhile, on the ground, Drake and Tsar are trying to save the seemingly dead IA guy, Rook, and Lieutenant Weaver is on his way with Sister Justine to find Corrigan, who's laying comatose channeling the Spectre. Weaver, he knew that Corrigan had this, judgment god inside of him, and
I'm really looking forward to his story.
yeah.
He seems to be the only guy that has all of the pieces of the puzzle as to who everyone
which is.
is.
Why we know the least about him.
I know.
Yeah, and so he's like, this is what I'm supposed to do when this happens. I'm supposed to shoot and kill Corrigan. And Drake stops him because, that's my partner. Don't kill my partner. Lets out her weird banshee scream that we're still not quite sure about.
We just know someone dies whenever she screams. Someone is destined to die immediately afterwards that's close to her.
She lets out her scream. Weaver's trying to reason with Corrigan to stop the Spectre, and Sister Justine offers herself up as a martyr to save the city to God.
Because she's the last pure soul in the city.
Yeah. And so Spectre screams, he shatters every window in the city, and making the LexCorp Window Company billions of dollars.
No! You've enabled him some more!
And letting everyone live. So the Spectre dissipates, the demon slinks back into the swamp because the judgment was passed and everyone seems to be okay, except for Sister Justine, who is now dead.
Yes,
and
she gave herself up.
But how? There are like 3 different ways she could have possibly died, and we don't know what actually the Spectre decided.
Well, yeah, we don't. But it seemed like there was she sacrificed herself to the higher power and said, just if you could take
but
me,
she could have died because of the scream.
Yeah, there's plenty.
The Spectre could have,
stepped on her. Whoops! Oh, I got some Sister Justine on my shoe.
My mistake.
This is not the biblical judgment I was trying for here.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, really good. So stylistic.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna miss Temple Smith, but I love the character. I love the character.
Who's taking over? Ferreira?
The guy who did that book that I saw on your shelf the one day.
Yeah, I believe that was Ferreira.
Juan Ferreira.
Yeah, from Colder.
Colder, yeah.
Yeah. Who, honestly, I know I had you flip through that when that was announced, and it has the same spooky style. He can channel the spookies.
It's not quite Temple Smith. Temple Smith is his own thing, but it is spooky.
Yeah,
spooky.
We may have a completely different tone too moving forward, so we don't know what exactly it's going to do. But he has skills that I'm not doubting whatsoever.
You just won't draw Batman as silly looking as Temple Smith did.
Herp-a-derp, my boy. I shot missiles. I used my L thing. I showed up. Done. See you guys in another 6 issues.
Yep.
No, really good. Definitely give it a shot during Convergence. If none of that's speaking to you, come back and check out some of these books. And Gotham by Midnight would be really high on my list of books you should probably give that initial peek to. Another one that surprised me though, Catwoman, number 40, that's been dealing with that legitimate Noir style crime mob boss drama. Not your jokey stream of consciousness noir style. This is like a legitimate noir style crime novella type thing. Messy ending, but in a good way.
Messy.
It's really messy, and it's the only way it could truthfully be handled, because no one gets what they want in the end of this book. It's just everyone trying to manipulate everything to work out their way, because war has erupted between the two gang superpowers, one under the lead of Catwoman, the other under the lead of Black Mask. And basically, they've both pulled all of the families underneath their banner, and this huge gang war is about to erupt, where Catwoman has basically manipulated all of the familias from the beginning to kind of get what she wants, but it's not a clear victory. Like, she goes and meets Penguin, who she busted out in Batman Eternal last week. And that was part of the whole thing, was to him to ingratiate himself in with Black Mask and be all like, hey, what say we topple Catwoman and I get her territories? And really what it is she wants him to come in as a neutral party just to sow confusion. So who's Penguin actually working for? We don't know. Oh my goodness. So as his troops enter into the fray, kind of attacking both sides, all of the families back off and go, we don't know who we're supposed to be shooting at right now, so we're just gonna back up slowly here and not really fight, because I don't know if I'm shooting an ally or an enemy right now. So the gang war gets kind of called off because of all the confusion Penguin causes. So this causes Black Mask to get very, very angry, and he goes, ooh, Catwoman, I hate you. And her brother, Catwoman's quote-unquote brother, he said he's her brother, but we don't know if it's true, Mason goes, well, I'm going to go deal with Catwoman once and for all, drives over to the house, and instead of finding Catwoman, finds Catwoman's cousin Antonia there. And Catwoman has already asked her to leave town because she's already given too much for the family. She had to kill her brother for being a snitch. It's, as I said, really dirty crime mob boss drama stuff going on here. And Antonia still wants to defend Catwoman and protect her. Mason ends up shooting her, and Catwoman comes in for the save, doesn't end up killing Antonia, and chases Mason out of town, says never come back again, gets Antonia to safety, and says, I'm handing over control of the crime family to you. You're the one that actually cares about all this stuff. I was just trying to not cause a gang war to happen, and I've done that, at least so far. There's now at least a check and balance, because there's three powers. There's our family, Black Mask, and the Penguin, so it'll be kind of a check and balance type situation here, and hopefully we can keep peace that way. But you're in charge. I'm donning back on the Catwoman suit. Let's get back on out there. Side note, though, Detectives Keyes and Alvarez have found out during all of this gang war that there are some dirty cops in the GCPD, because people are turning in other people and tipping off the cops where some of the mob families are going to be doing things. They're like, God, there's so many dirty cops. Let's say we find them all and bust them. Yeah! And that's what they're going to do. And they head back to Alvarez's apartment. And as they come in, they find that there's a note on the window where Catwoman has left a note saying, you're on the right trail. I'll help you guys out in sniffing out the dirty cops. I'll tell you who to trust. Let's say we work together for once, eh?
Hey.
Yeah. Because when you got Keyes and Alvarez on the case, it's getting solved. Anytime Keyes and Alvarez are there, there's either
remember all those murders they solved on the murder squad?
There's either going to be a solved case or a wacky race. One of the two that's going to happen. So hard to take those two seriously ever since that
Ever since the dramatic reveal of the ice cream truck.
Best panel ever. So she has redone the costume. She swings on out there. Batman gives her a nod for actually stopping the crime war. They don't have a conversation. He's just like standing on a rooftop as she whips on by, and she's like, hey, and he's like, yeah. And that's where we end it, with her back out on the streets, doing her own thing, being herself, and accepting the Catwoman role as her place in the world. It's again, really well done. Really well done. I'm not going to do it justice because a lot of it is the tone and slow builds. It's a lot of character drama and less plot beats. And it works really, really well. So moving on.
All right, moving on. Let's see if we can rush through the Flash, number 40.
Oh, I get what you're doing there.
So the evil future, we're also running long. The evil future Flash who murders the rogues is facing against Overload, who is powering up thanks to Wi-Fi towers and is going to kill a whole bunch of Central City citizens. Patty Spivot and Iris West shame him into not murdering the villain and just stopping him.
After he runs into the middle of the giant crowd and goes, I'm going to murder this man!
Yeah.
If any of you had any doubt that I was an evil Flash, I'm about to murder this gentleman in front of you.
So, after getting the hairiest of eyeballs from his two romantic options, he uses his Speed Force powers and a robot arm that apparently can use touchscreens to use all of the devices in the city at once to crash the Wi-Fi towers. It stops feeding power to Overload. He's at peace and can finally rest and gets taken away.
I actually thought that was a great resolution to the problem.
Oh, yeah.
And the page of him rushing through the city, like multiple texts on, hey, it's the Flash, just borrowing your friend's cell phone.
Yeah.
Just stealing things and typing stupid little messages into everything just to overload it.
LOL poop emoji.
I thought that
Cat
was
making Home Alone face. There you go. Bye. I'm the Flash.
That was great. Yeah.
So, meanwhile, in the Speed Force, our Flash gets used in a ceremony that grants Speed Force powers to old-timey archaeologist Selkirk, but instead he fries half of his face off, and Barry uses that as an opportunity to go back to Central City. He confronts the future Flash, but then Selkirk comes through the time rip. I'm so much smarter than you see. It was so easy to go through time. It was just a jump to the left and a step to the right.
Stop pelvic thrusting!
So he uses his speed brain to outsmart the Flashes, but because two people can't be in the same place at the same time, or two of the same person can't be in the same place at the same time, a future Flash sacrifices himself to blast, snap Selkirk's neck and send him back into the Speed Force. So future Flash dies, and Barry's all, well, that just happened. Let's get back to normal. Patty, I've missed you so much. And then Patty's all, yeah, I was living with a murderer with your face. I'm out. But I didn't do anything. Barry, I had movie night with a murderer. Movie night, Barry. Do you know what that means? I will never be able to watch Win a Date with Tad Hamilton ever again. No!
Well, that's not that much of a loss. I mean, you can move on.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, in the Speed Force, Selkirk is lying, paralyzed, feeling pretty crappy that after wanting super speed his entire life, he got to use it for like 5 pages. So, someone shows up and is like, oh, well, his back is broken, but he knows a lot about the Speed Force, and that can be a lot of use to Professor Zoom. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, Zoom is back. And
Zoom is back. He created the New 52, pretty much,
He
right?
did, and I'm curious if he is aware of the New 52 existing. He died at the end of Flashpoint.
Okay.
I know that much.
Probably got shunted off into the Speed Force.
Well, then Flashpoint reset everything. So obviously it wouldn't be the same Zoom now that was. I mean, obviously, since the Flash was there and his memories got overwritten.
Did this Professor Zoom used to run a law office out of a bowling alley?
No, I don't think so.
That's the one from the TV show.
Oh, okay. No, as far as how they're going to do it, I don't know. Because if technically the truth about the New 52 ever came out anytime in the next 2 centuries, he would have knowledge of it because he's from the future.
Yeah.
So, I mean, technically he could know about it just because it will come out sometime in the future or something like that. Who knows? I don't know how they're going to play it, but maybe he's assembling his own Speed Force to go out there
he
and fight.
He had some henchmen, so
okay,
we'll see.
I don't know. A lot of people are saying Selkirk is the new Zolomon because
he was like the apprentice, the Zoom, Reverse Flash, whatever.
Who was also handicapped or paralyzed, or
he might have been at one point. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little hard to keep all of the Reverse Flashes.
Yeah, we got a lot of them right now. If that's the case, if that's who he's supposed to be, that's a lot of Reverse Flashes.
There's a lot of Reverse Flashes. Yeah.
I guess in this case, it's Reverse Flash and Professor Zoom are 2 separate characters then. Or has that always been the way it's been?
I guess. Well, now we've got the new version.
Yeah, we've got
time slowdown powers or whatever.
Yeah, we've got his.
We've got Monorail Reverse Flash.
Monorail.
We've got Professor Zoom / Reverse Flash, which they always kind of shared that name.
Okay.
It was always sort of
And then
you could refer to him as either.
If this Selkirk is taking the Zolomon role, he would be the Reverse Flash Jr.
I guess, yeah. Kid Reverse Flash? I don't know.
Kid
He's
Reverse
pretty
Flash,
old, but
yeah. Forward Flash. Sure. Whatever.
Back Flash.
Much stronger ending than I was expecting, but again, that scene where all of a sudden Future Flash runs in and is like, I'm gonna murder people! Just felt so like, okay, we gotta wrap this up and fill everyone in on who he is exactly so we can just get him out of the picture here in a couple pages. That felt a little painful. Other than that, if you just let that slide, pretty decent ending, I thought. A lot more interested with that last page, though, as far as where they're going. Obviously, we just talked about it for 5 minutes practically, just off of a page reveal alone. So, obviously, they got a plan. They're going somewhere.
Yep.
Last for me, Brian, you got one more after this.
Yeah.
But for me, Justice League Dark number 40, where they were having a slobber knocker brawl between that obvious manifestation of evil, Pralaya, she who was nothing that existed before the creation. You remember this, Kelly, right? This,
sure.
This obvious villain here that we've all talked about. The nothing that was there before creation.
Yeah.
You're sure they're going to have a fist fight, right?
Oh, I'm guessing.
It's very easy to fight the nothing that was there before creation.
Well, no, but you can't really fight the nothing. You have to, when you fight the nothing, you have to, basically
use something.
No, it's that little spark that's left in the kid's hand. When
The last grain of sand of Fantasia.
Yeah, when
this is the last grain of sand from Fantasia.
And then he has to dream it all up.
But what name does he give her?
Oh, crap. What is her name?
We're just going to talk about the Neverending story now instead of Justice League Dark number 40.
What is her name? I'm going to have to search this.
Brian doesn't remember. Oh no, Brian's running back into the room.
You can't understand it because it's garbled and it's horribly sound mixed. That's why you don't know what the name is. And it's like supposed to be like his mom's name or something, but they don't say his mom's name at any point during the movie.
Nope. But
it only makes sense if you read the book.
Yep.
I read the book, but I can't remember.
So let's get back on point here, guys.
I specifically left for a minute so I wouldn't have to hear about Justice League Dark, and I come back and you still haven't started it yet.
I had to wait for you. I felt bad. I didn't want you to be left out.
About the nothingness that was there before the dawn of time or whatever?
Yep, Pralaya.
Yeah.
But remember the House of Mystery all of a sudden
Can't wait for that Pralaya action figure.
It's just a blank sheet of construction paper.
Yep.
But the House of Mystery had appeared after the entire team was absorbed into the nothingness. And it's piloted by the Dream Constantine that Zatanna willed up in one of the earlier issues when she was trapped on the wild magic plane of time. Do you remember this? Where she was stuck there by herself and she could control all magic and she dreamed up her own Constantine and they had a life together, blah, blah, blah. So what does Dream Constantine do to help save the team? He dreams up a Dream Zatanna. And then the two of them dream up a dream Swamp Thing.
Dream. It's Inception.
But the dream Swamp Thing that the two dreams Zatanna and Constantine's dream up is like a baby Swamp Thing, and it can't even walk, and it's like, what'd I do? And they're like, oh, well, here's the plan. And that's when Pralaya finds them and attacks. And Dreamsy and Constantine kind of distract Pralaya as baby Swamp Thing just kind of crashes into the darkness like, Bazaar! And Pralaya is just like, okay, that was an attack. He just dived into the darkness of everything before creation. So good job. Way to go, guys. You did it. And that's when all of a sudden the world tree erupts from within her because Swamp Thing was just the seed for the world tree. And that restarts creation, defeating Pralaya because she can't exist when creation is there because she only exists before creation. Slobber Knocker! Yeah!
Apparently her name is Moonchild.
Is it though? Is it though?
I don't, apparently. So apparently his mother's name was Moonchild.
Or was that her name before he named her?
I don't know.
Oh!
It is telling me that
I have given Kelly something to do for the rest of the show now.
It is telling me that Bastion names her Moonchild. So that's what
This is what happens when you give a 10-year-old the power of naming you.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I liked in that one movie with what's his name in it? Goofy guy. Saturday Night Live. Adam Sandler, when he's taking care of the kid and he lets the kid name himself and he names himself like Frankenstein something or other, whatever. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right for a 10-year-old. Anyway, moving on. I don't think it's Moonchild, by the way. I'm not done, Brian.
Oh.
I'm not done. They have defeated the darkness before creation by creating creation. And they celebrate. Yay, team, we have won. They're all aboard the House of Mystery. When all of a sudden the House of Mystery goes and kind of crashes down in the middle of London. And they're like, did you do that, Zatanna? I didn't do that. Who did that? I don't know. And they open the door to find Constantine. They're like, hey, mates, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. Oi, oi, governor. If I'm doing Brian's weird whatever that is.
Sounds exactly like a British accent.
And they're like,
a little too restrained, to be perfectly honest.
Constantine, did you do this? He's like, no, the house called me here too. And Zatanna goes, oh, that's because I'm leaving the team, and which means I'm leaving the house. So it picked him as the new ruler of the house. And it's a legitimately sad scene where she's actually sad to see him go because remember, she's the only one that remembers the love they shared. Mm. The best arc out of this one for me, at least. It was the most touching moment of it. And then, Constantine's just all confused and the rest of the team all understand how sad of a moment it is for Z. And he's like, why are you all just staring at me weirdly? This is awkward. I'm going to go in the House of Mystery. And they're all like, yeah, whatever. See you later. And everyone else flies off as Constantine takes
We're going to have a house party. It's going to be a pajama jammy jam.
Is Kid and Play going to show up? Because that would be pretty.
But here's the thing, though. At this point in time, Kid is Play and Play is Kid, and everything's all mixed up.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
It's a class act is what it is.
Oh, jeez. So, yeah, that's where it's ending, where Constantine has the House of Mystery, and he's going to fly around being all skeevy, like he usually does. I haven't used skeevy in a while. I like that word. Skeevy. Maybe that's what he named her. Did he name her Skeevy?
Exky?
So what's our last book, Brian?
Star-Spangled War Stories featuring G.I. Zombie number 8.
I thought it was G.I. Crotch Kicker.
Groin Kicker. Well, it technically is not starring him, but in my heart it's starring G.I. Groin Kicker. It's a final assault on the weird anti-government Bond villain group. Agent Carmen was able to get a warning call off to Gravedigger and noted zombie super soldier Jared about the location of the base in San Francisco. She spent several pages just being an absolute boss, surviving by the skin of her teeth and just shooting the crap ton of people in the head until her backup arrives. So her and Jared then go out and have the most hilariously straightforward assault on the big boss, including Jared being all excited. It's like, oh man, we've got a license to kill now. It's like, what have we been doing for the past 8 issues?
We've literally murdered hundreds of people so far.
We've murdered several small towns. And they also...
But it's so Commando style, like the scene where he's at the back porch and they're just like, jugga, 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 as all the villains just keep running out into the hail of gunfire and dying.
They avoid a group of henchmen that want to use the elevator instead of the stairs because they're super lazy. Like, hey guys, let's go to the elevator. What about that stairwell right there? And you just see like G.I. Zombie and Carmen like with their backs pressed against the wall with their eyes all wide. It's like, but it's stairs. It's so hard. And it's like,
guys, we gotta get healthy. Our health insurance plans, the premiums that we had to pay.
They gave us all these. They gave us all these Fitbits. We've got. Come on.
Fine, we'll be healthy. We'll take the stairs.
Like, oh no! So they eventually find Forrest, the guy in charge, and it turns out he's one of Jared's old partners. Like, oh yes, Jared, the man who helped me accomplish all of my evil plans. Let me monologue and tell you how I accomplished all of these nefarious... Oh my god, my ear! Someone just shot off my ear! Oh my god, this... Oh, ah!
You guys let Cluemaster monologue, why don't I get to?
And it was Carmen, she just shot his ear off. So, hey Jared, we've got to shut all this stuff down, so while you're doing that, I'm just going to kick Forrest in the groin for like a page straight, okay? Stomp, stomp, stomp. Well, it works for me. Stomp, stomp, stomp. And that's how she became G.I. Groin Kicker. So Gravedigger and company set off an EMP device or something that neutralizes the base, and they stop another zombie bomb from going off.
Yay, team!
Yep, so Gravedigger is super impressed at how awesome Jared and Carmen are together and makes them permanent partners. They survey their handiwork as the U.S. is saved, and Jared tells her how he lost an arm, a whole arm. He lost an entire arm on the same mission that Forrest and some other guy named Leo went missing on. So the whole zombie bomb gas was made from his DNA, probably. And that stinks, but we're awesome. Let's go for takeout. The end for now.
Yeah.
It says that in writing for now. I'm going to hold you to this, DC. You've got it.
Yeah, that's right.
This is a binding contract. It is in writing.
I expect the next big event to center around G.I. Zombie. And,
As well it should.
honestly, that last page pun, loved it. Where it was the whole, well, what do you want to eat? Do you like Indian? Do you like Chinese? Do you like, Vietnamese? They're all pretty tasty. I should probably fill you in on what exactly I do eat, though. It's the actual people, not the food.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh, and it's just another commendation for the artwork, which is just fantastic.
Yes, another stylistic choice.
It jumps from like super realistic to like Mike Mignola to like something that looks like it's out of China, Illinois, with like
I can see that, yeah.
with like baby cakes telling everyone to be aggressive. Oh, and it works perfectly. Like everything meshes together perfectly, and it creates just this great, fun espionage romp and
with a nice layer, a sheen of comedy on top of it.
Yeah,
and it worked out very well.
The darkest humor, but I love it. So
again,
I don't see the trade anywhere on the schedule yet, but I'm excited
they've been
for it.
really good about giving every book at least a trade treatment. It may not be a huge run, as you saw with Demon Knights Volume 1. It sold out fairly quickly as far as the print run.
Yeah.
But they're at least getting it out there so you can pre-order it if you want it, or I'm sure there'll be copies floating around. There's always a couple.
Yeah.
I know I just went and backfilled Vibe as far as selling off the singles and then replacing it with the trade for the shelf. So it was, yay, I was able to find that. I was actually worried about that one. I was like, hey, it's been a while since that one came out. It might be out of print by now. But nope, was still able to get it, thankfully. Woo. Moving forward. But that's it. That's all of our books. Again, that G.I. Zombie, though, is my biggest fear for post-convergence.
Oh, I know.
That perfect quality, nothing wrong, nothing done wrong, just didn't find its audience. And I'm just so afraid there's going to be so many of those books that are going to come out post-convergence that we're reading it for obvious reasons, but it's going to be so good and I'm going to love it and it's just going to all be taken away from me left and right as all of these books just don't find their niche audience. So I'm hoping people give some of these books a shot, at least for an issue or two. But that's it. That's all of our books. That's everything for this week. Kelly, you got a smirk on your face.
I have something to say. All right. Childlike Empress. He has to give me a new name. He's already chosen it. He just
Did
has
you
to
just
call it out.
download the book?
Bastion. It's only a story. It's not real. It's only a story. Ivory Tower shakes and cracks some more. Atreyu falls backwards and is knocked
Wait, you're reading the
unconscious.
script?
Bastion. Atreyu, no! Childlike Empress. Atreyu! Exit view. The courtyard is being taken away by the Nothing. Because of Bastion's newfound disbelief, the Nothing has grown stronger and is now attacking the last remaining part of
We don't
Fantasia.
need the entire scene. We just need to know what he named her.
Childlike Empress. Bastion, don't you do what you dream? Bastion. But I can't. I have to keep my feet on the ground. Childlike Empress. Call my name, Bastion. Please, save us. Bastion.
Say my name. Say my name.
All right,
Acting
I'll
kinda
do it.
shady.
I'll save
Calling
you.
me baby.
I will do what I dream. He climbs up to the window and opens it. He leans out into the storm and calls out the name he had chosen for her. Bastion. Moonchild. Next scene, darkness pure and black as night. We hear Bastion speak. Moonchild. Bam! I was right.
Well, technically Google was right because you Googled the first answer.
But you did not believe me.
I didn't say I didn't believe you. I just was throwing some doubt on the whole thing.
Oh no.
But that's all of our books, plus a lovely reenacted scene by Kelly of the ending of the Neverending story.
Not the complete
Which
ending.
is a weird sentence to say, the ending of the Neverending story. Are you sure you don't want me to just play the music? Do you want to just ride on the back of Falcor right now and chase your bullies into the dumpster?
Totally do.
Do it.
Totally do.
Okay, ride Falcor. Here you go. Come on. I'm sure it's in the script.
That's much further down. I'd have to keep scrolling down, and my phone is about to die. So
Fair enough. And we have more work to do, so your phone can't die just yet.
yeah.
Not just yet. But As a reminder to you guys, go out there and buy these books and a lovely VHS copy of the Neverending Story if you feel like it.
You could buy it on DVD.
No, you got for
You
the
have
true
to get it on
experience.
VHS.
But you can buy it on DVD.
The tracking has to be just off as well, so that when the song is playing, it's like. I don't know. You understand how many times I saw that movie as a kid?
Oh no, I know because I have too. I still have those VHS copies.
So as a reminder to you guys, go out there and buy these books, because if you don't buy them, they don't make them. We've said it for the last couple of weeks. We're at the very end of the New 52, so more than understandable if you guys do not want to jump on at the tail end. But they're being pretty good about catching you up during Convergence. A couple trades are coming out. You can always, as I said before, backlog it a little bit if Convergence isn't your thing, or if you don't want to just dive headfirst into it. Plenty of stuff in the last couple months from the New 52 that were high quality that we highly recommend checking out. What say we talk about next week's books, though?
Sure, why not?
Next week, we got a bunch. It's technically the true ending of the New 52 and the start of heading into Convergence. I think we have like 3 books that are gonna kind of trickle in afterwards that were pushed back a little bit. But next week we have Arkham Manor Endgame #1. So I guess they did get one more issue in there. Mr. Freeze is on the cover.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's my Mr. Freeze. Batman and Robin Annual #3. And all I know is they go to the moon. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Batman Eternal #52, the end of that weekly. Batman Superman Annual #2, Batwoman Annual #2 for the end of that storyline. Earth 2 World's End #26, the end of the Earth 2 weekly as well. Gotham Academy Endgame #1. So much Gotham Academy this month.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn #16, Sinestro Annual #1, Superman Wonder Woman #17, Teen Titans Annual, #1, New 52 Future's End #48, last issue of Future's End, Wonder Woman #40, and last but not least, Convergence #0, as we start heading into that. I think, honestly, we, as a whole, as a readership, we've kind of been really rough on a lot of books for DC as far as the weeklies. They just finished putting out 3 weekly books.
Yeah.
For a couple months. That is an accomplishment.
That's insane.
That is a huge accomplishment. And even I was thinking about it last week after we were joking around about Earth 2 and oh, you have your plot threads and obviously this is a joke, blah, 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 blah. The amount of work that has gone into what they have done that people are just expective of it. And no one's even expecting a week off that they miss or anything like that. It never came up. No one was really grumpy about it. It just became an expected thing that they produced it each week, and they met that whole standard. I honestly just have to say kudos to everyone, because that's not just writers and artists. That's editors, that's staff, that's the back office, that's the people actually manufacturing the books themselves. I mean, that's honestly a lot of work for a lot of people for a lot of weeks. So kudos to everyone involved with that one. I know we got a couple laughs from some of the books, but I cannot laugh at the amount of work that you guys did. It's seriously impressive. But yeah, that's technically the end of the New 52 next week. Sad face.
Yeah.
Sad face. Kelly, it's your time. It's your time. Unless you want to go back on the Falcor, you could tell all of us how people can contact we here at DCR Podcast. And go!
You go onto your browser.
Okay. Firefox or Internet Explorer?
It doesn't matter.
Chrome?
I don't
Internet
care.
Explorer. I heard they're continuing to publish that.
I prefer Chrome personally, but that's just me.
I'm more of a Firefox guy, but that's cool. You do your thing.
You could do whatever, but you type DCR Podcast and push go. And it should bring up Twitter options, Facebook options, other options.
The actual website.
The actual website.
The actual website, DCRpodcast.com.
So yeah, that's where you find us.
Okay.
Or if you want to email us, it's feedback@dcrpodcast.com.
According to David Ziegler, internet@internet.com might go to the Lawnmower Band. So we might want to be a little careful.
Uh-oh.
He said or Oracle or some other derivative of it. So either way, it's not going to be a good ending to that. Especially if it's the movie Lawnmower Man version. really bad.
If it's just a guy that's going to mow my lawn for me, that'd actually be very advantageous.
That would actually be kind of useful.
Yeah.
I mean, internet.com, my grass is really long.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's going to wrap us up for this week. So,
I'm
Kelly,
too busy reading comic books and recording a podcast. Please mow the lawn for me.
do you have anything before we take off for this week?
No, not really.
Another childhood movie you want to read the screenplay for, or anything?
No, but the fact that you can look up the whole script is kind of crazy.
That is kind of cray-cray. Brian, how about you before we take off?
I'm more of a Rookie of the Year fan, so if we could turn this into a video podcast where I can do my reenactment of me slowly turning my arm backwards and looking incredulously at it, I would really be appreciative.
So I am a bigger fan of The Princess Bride than I am in the Neverending Story.
Yeah, but there's no real musical that stands out as much as Neverending Story. The score wasn't as good. It just wasn't. I'm sorry. The movie's fine, but the score wasn't as good as Neverending Story. You can play the theme from Neverending Story of him riding on the back of Falcor, and everyone knows it.
That's true.
But hey, you guys, you have all been asking us a particular question, actually, before we take off, and that is, with the end of the New 52, what are we going to do next? And we decided we were actually going to put together a mini podcast here that's going to come out on Wednesday because, hey, you know what? Why not? We've already been doing bi-weekly episodes for a little bit. But that should answer that question as well as tie up some of the loose ends as far as what's going on. But it's a little bit of a change of format as far as what we're doing. Not too much. You guys shouldn't be too shocked or surprised. But if you want to get filled in on it, feel free to check that one out as well. But we'll also be tying up some of the other books that fell through the cracks that we did not get to talk about. So enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives, and we will talk to you Wednesday.